going on, YouTube? Welcome to Out the Dark Age News, where we go over some thought provoking social and political commentary to, address some of the things that is plaguing or some of the things that's in our everyday lives that we got to deal with as Americans. So I thank you guys for coming in. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe button as you watch this, and definitely feel free to leave comments and just let me know where you stand on the issue. Let me know how you think. Right. So our topic for today is, should white women be considered DEI? That's a great question for me because just looking at the history of the DEI movement, I feel as though black people have been considered the poster child of DEI. And what I mean by the poster child of it, we are the face of something that does not benefit us. And study after study has shown that DEI benefits white women the most, right? By it benefiting white women the most, you got to ask yourself, why would they go out and vote for Donald Trump, the man who wants to get rid of DEI, the man who is actively um, trying to undermine affirmative action, DEI at every chance he can, at every chance he can get? Why would they go out and vote for him? Right. My conclusion is they don't consider, white women don't consider themselves DEI. You hear it all the time. White women have white women I've worked with in corporate America never once heard them say anything about themselves being DEI. I never heard them in my lifetime mention the fact that the 1964 Civil Rights Act also benefited them as well. Um, so you kind of got to question that, right? Um, have they reached a place in society where they don't feel as though they are less than a white men? Do they see themselves as uh, the white man's equal? Right? Those are serious questions, and they may feel different. I'm quite sure some black people, we feel different about it. Like I said, when you look at the numbers for DEI, white women make up 79% of the positions um, that this program or these incent, at a DEI pretty much created. Right, 79% of the opportunities went to them. Only 4% went to blacks. We are we we benefited the least from DEI, and that's ridiculous. We the ones who went out there, fought for civil rights. Our leaders died for it. Our leaders were beaten, assaulted by cops, tagged by dogs to advance the 1965 Civil Rights Act, and it was something that has had little effect on our community. And it's okay for them to say, well, you guys have, it's not as bad as what it was. Like, some people will say, look, guys, we're not living in slavery anymore. It's not that bad. But is it really? I mean, is it? Have we really advanced in America, black people, right? And you would think that our white allies, the people who have benefited from DEI the most, would be the ones that extend a hand, reach down, and pull us up with them. But that's not the case, right? So what got me to wanting to go into this topic was a CNN debate the other day between Ashley Allison and Scott Jennings, which I kind of like Scott Jennings. He's a one of those people I can have a conversation with on the Republican side, you know. Um, but it was interesting to see how she was perceived by the other guests. So let's take a look at that.
The issue in this country right now is we live in different realities.
That's right.
I live in a reality where I know I do not have the same opportunity as you. I know I don't.
And you know
And
that
I know
too.
Let's go.
I got.
And
you
look,
know that.
Let me just tell you about me.
I'm gonna let you finish, but I want to answer this.
I'm not talking about how you feel. I'm talking about how I feel. Me, a black woman in this country.
But not in this city.
And I will run. And if you want,
I'm a New Yorker, not in this city. You cannot say that. You can't say that in this city.
I'm not talking about New York. I'm talking about actually
let her finish.
right here.
Let her finish.
I got a law degree, a master's, and 2 bachelors. Probably more education than all of y'all added up together at this table,
Fine
right?
by me.
And I have always been the least paid person on payroll.
First thing that stands out to me was, you had the black woman, the other black panelist. She was on there, and the Tootsie Roll with the snapping of the fingers. It's uncalled for at this time. This was Ashley Ellison. She seemed like a black woman who has been holding this stuff in for a long period of time. This is frustration that you're seeing from her. You can look in her eyes and tell she has had to battle some. She's had plenty of battles in corporate America to get where she is. That's not just somebody who is out here looking for a handout. It's somebody who knows their worth but can't advocate for herself because she knows the repercussions of advocating for herself. She knows what would happen to her, like as many black women in corporate America know. They say, well, why didn't you speak up? Why didn't you do more? This is your fault. To me, that's victimizing the victim. But it goes back to this, the bigger question. White women, they sit in corporate America is some of the highest places when you talk about HR, when you talk about leadership roles, and they see the numbers. They know that black women are not properly represented in their in the workforce. They know that these black women have degrees. They know that these black women are more than qualified, but they sit there and say nothing. They don't try to make them bring their pay up equally to theirs. Black women are 12% make 12% less than white women and 39% less than white men. Why is that in this day and age? And then you say, well, she should speak up and say something about it. You speak up and say something about it, you get blackballed. Ask any black person about that, and they'll tell you, if I say something, I'm out of here. It's almost like they treat us as if we should just be happy to be be on the bus. It's almost like we still, in 2025, having to take a seat on the back of the bus.
Payroll at every institution I have worked in, and it's not
Even in the White House.
Even in the White House.
Well, whose fault is that? I don't think he worked for George W. or Trump.
Well, guess what happened when I was there? DEI.
Scott.
Look.
You see that? You see him antagonizing her, clapping in her face. Look at the white woman. Look at the smile on her face. Now you see the black woman. You see her. She's getting serious because and I was connecting with her. She knows her sister is hurting. But look at the white woman's face. Smile, a laugh. What's funny about that? You might as well, to me, that's a way to call somebody a monkey without saying you're a monkey. You're just here to entertain me. Go ahead and what's funny about that? And I take my hat off to Scott Jennings for being professional and saying his side of how he feels. But at the same time, for this white man, and I don't even know if he's white. He look like he may be Latino or something. Who knows? He more than likely believes he's a white man at the end of the day, in his mind. But for him to sit up there and clap in this woman's face, laugh in her face as she is articulating her pain in front of the world at this point, and have this white woman laugh at her, the white woman who supposed to benefit from the same programs like DEI that was supposed to uplift people like this black woman, is ridiculous. And this black woman who's sitting next to her, all she can do is hang her head because she knows she's in the same position. She knows she's dealing with it too.
I'm ahead, Scott.
Look,
No,
You're my friend. I respect you tremendously. I think you're probably the smartest operative in the Democratic Party, and they should listen to you more. That's number one. Number two, you and I share a comparable background. We're both from the Midwest. We both come from middle-class families, lower middle-class families, maybe. I actually think we share a lot of similarities in our journey. But I think you made it, and you are the most respected voice often at every room or every table you're in, not because of anything other than your talent and your work ethic. And that's all anybody ever is asking for, is for people with talent and work ethic to make it. And that's what I see in you. That's how I see you.
But let me tell you something about my story and my.
So Scott's saying that he sees her talent and her work ethic, but why can't she be paid the same as her counterparts? Why does she have to work 10 times harder than her counterparts to sit at that same table when she's just as qualified, and if not more qualified than, as she said, when she said, I got more degrees than everybody sitting at the table, nobody challenged her with that. Nobody. Which brings me to my next point. So, looking at Thought Code, article by Thought Code, talks about black women, right? It says, for example, although black women only make up 12.7% of the female population in this country, they consistently make up over 50% of the number of black people who receive post-secondary degrees. Percentage-wise, black women outpace white women, Latinos, Asian, Pacific Islanders, and Native Americans in this arena as well. With that being said, right, why is it that black women who, like I said, making up 50% of the number of black people who receive post-secondary degrees, many times have multiple degrees, not just one? Myself personally, I don't know too many black women who don't have a degree or a master's degree at that. With that being said, how come we're not seeing the numbers rise in corporate America when it comes down to black women in leadership? I'm seeing black women resort to, doing entry-level jobs, driving trucks, working in factories, driving forklifts. You know who I don't see working in factories, driving forklifts? To this day, and like I said, it may be different. I don't know. I haven't been in every factory. I've never seen a white woman driving a forklift in the factory. Never. It's ridiculous. So what Ashley Ellison is dealing with, she has to work twice as hard to be able to sit at that table as her white counterpart. She has to be willing to accept being underpaid, right? While being more than qualified. That would drive any sane person insane after a while. And imagine when you can't go to work and speak up about it. Speak up about what you're dealing with, because you're going to deal with a boss who's just like the white man who was sitting on the other side of the table, who's going to clap in your face and tell you, tough luck, cookie. Oh, you're paid less than the white woman. Well, I mean, that's your fault. If you're not happy here, maybe you should look for other opportunities. So why is that fair to black women? Why do they got to go through that? Then you talk about, I think right now my biggest issue with the Democrat Party is they lost this election. Trump goes in, he gets rid of DEI. They go send out all their, black pundits, their black political figures, and they have them marching in the streets trying to get black people to rally behind keeping a program, again, be in the face of a program that does not benefit us, without addressing the underlying issue with why black people really don't care if DEI goes away. The underlying issue is white women who voted for Trump in mass, 54%, white women who voted for Trump make up 79% of DEI positions. So if you ask me, since they want to vote for Trump, since they're not perceiving themselves as DEI anymore, they should not be considered DEI. They need to, and if you look up the amount of people when you look at the people who file EEOC claims, white women are at the top of the list every time. So they want the protection of the EEOC, which white men don't enjoy. They want the protection of the EEOC. They want to have the benefits of DEI, but they don't want to be considered DEI, and they want to make sure nobody else comes behind them or gets the same opportunities that they get. If you ask me, right, I believe that many black people who work in corporate America, they suffer from PTSD, suffer with depression. Because imagine having to go to work every day, knowing that you work twice as hard to get where you are, knowing that if you open your mouth, you're gonna get probably more than likely blackballed, knowing that you have to defend yourself. You got to defend yourself to your white counterparts every single day. You got to prove why you belong there. Even if you got more degrees than them, you got more experience, you're still the one that gets questioned whether or not you belong there. That's enough to drive anybody insane. And to our last point, let's take a look at it's another journal that I found very interesting, right? So it talks about new CEO position appointments since the year 2000. So over a 20-year span, it's from 2000 to 2020. So there has been 151 new CEO appointments in the United States. Out of that 151, 67 went to white women. 32 went to Asians. 36 went to Latinos. The numbers is so horrible for African Americans, for Black Americans. They had to lump us together with Black men and Black women. And that was 16 out of 151. Just 16. So, with that being said, how many do you believe were Black women? Again, if you ask me, I say 11 went to Black men maybe 10 or so, 6 went to black women, if that. And that's being generous with the numbers. Mind you, this is the most educated demographic in the United States right now. So to me, what I question is this. This is what I believe. When I was younger, I used to always wonder why there wasn't as many black head coaches in college football. And I had a coach tell me one time. He said, "Man, listen. The reason why it's not as many black head coaches in college football is because it's not about whether or not someone is qualified. It's who you feel comfortable sitting down at the table and having dinner with at night." And it's pretty deep when you think about it. You know, I feel as though, and I've seen it many times in corporate America. As a black man, I can walk into a room. There's a group of white men talking. You can tell they're having a conversation that only they are going to have together. When I walk up, the conversation changes. They want to talk about basketball, football, things I can really give two damns about. But they don't feel as though I am adapted enough to have a conversation about stocks, bonds. What's the best school district to send your kids to? It's the same way with black women, if not again. And I can't speak for black women. I'm not going to do that because I'm not a black woman. But I can see their struggles. I've witnessed black women who've had 20 something years of experience in a position. I mean, in a company, and then a white guy who goes golfing with the director becomes her manager, and they say, well, he has all the qualities we look for to do the job. And that black woman who's been there for 20 years, she has to sit there and train this guy and pretty much hold his hand, do his work. At some point, you got to ask yourself, man, like, golly, well, how much more you want us to take? But one thing about Donald Trump that I would give him this is this. At the end of the day, Donald Trump is going to push America to have uncomfortable conversations. And we're going to have to really look in the mirror. And I'm going to say this. What's done to black people, it's going to come back around on a lot of the other groups, as the Latinos are seeing right now, as the African community, South African community seeing right now. It's going to come back around. White women, it might not affect you today, but give it some time. When you start seeing you getting passed up by your white male counterparts to be in these CEO positions, to be in these leadership positions, and they start questioning whether or not you're capable of doing the job, you're going to want to have a revolution and want blacks to stand by you and stand behind you. It's not going to happen. So to answer my question tonight, I'm sorry. Should white women be considered DEI? Say no. White women are not DEI. I feel as though they have privilege in America, in corporate America. They are very privileged. And I think that the sooner we can stop counting them as DEI, the numbers for everybody else will increase. Because again, it's about who you feel comfortable sitting down at the table with. And white men have said, well, I feel comfortable sitting down with a white woman. But that black girl, nah, I'm okay. That black guy, nah. The black girl, she's aggressive. She's a lot. She's a lot to handle. even though she's more qualified than everybody else in the room. So I thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let's have some great thought-provoking conversations in the comments. Look forward to making more content that, tries to not only, open up these conversations, but find some healing in all of this madness. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. And like I said, till next time.